there is a route to Georgetown from the Northwest District that goes out to sea and comes in here at the Demerara River, the mouth of the Demerara River. So some of these boats might be coming in. What we can see in this view though, looking down the river, is you can begin to see the bridge. That is the new Demerara River Bridge. You can see that from, it's about 4 miles, maybe 5 miles from where we are right now. But there in the center of the screen is the part of the bridge. It extends from the west bank. From the west bank of the Demerara River. It's been completed, I think, halfway across the river. We have been looking in our videos and the ones published on this channel. We've been looking at the east bank. This is looking back where we came from. That's the Marriott Hotel. And behind the Marriott, of course, is the Pegasus. Right behind the Marriott, that's the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. And in front of it is the Marriott. This is Police Outpost. So let's see if we can get another look at the bridge, the new Demerara Bridge. Okay, so I'm walking on a ledge here that is at the edge of the river, but there in the distance, about 5 miles up the river, you can see the Demerara River Bridge, the new Demerara River Bridge. It's faint in this view, but it extends halfway across the river from the west bank. So a significant amount of construction has been completed at both ends. Like I said in the previous sequence of videos that I've been making, I've concentrated on looking at the east end, but of course construction is also taking place at the west end of the bridge. And from the look of things, the bridge is halfway across the river. At least they've completed the base, the structure, the base for the road. They filled in those gaps between the platforms, so they've actually completed most of the spans up to the middle, and what remains to be done is apparently the high span section, which of course is very close to the east bank. But this is where we are. This is Kingston. This is the edge of Kingston. Of course, on the other side, that is the Marriott through the fence. And what I wanted to show you at this point is there in the distance, that is the shore base. It's fully operational now. That has been reclaimed. That's reclaimed from the river, from the mouth of the river, and now it's fully operational. And it illustrates the point I make in previous videos, that instead of building the Hilton Hotel on land that was basically confiscated from the schools and the Guyana National Service, it is quite possible to reclaim land from the sea and to build a hotel or a series of hotels, waterfront hotels on reclaimed land. But this is Kingston, this is where we are. smokestacks in the distance. That is the power station, and power and light have their generating plant over there. And this is Battery Road in Kingston. We're back on Battery Road in Kingston. The end of this road, of course, is the river, and there's of course some stone operations where they're collecting, or not collecting, but yes, I guess collecting stones for construction that is mined, quarried further inland and brought here for deposit. This is the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Public Health Central Supplies, and this is the Ministry of Forestry. I've said before that these are probably prime real estate for hotels and tourism related activities. There was a plan, of course, to turn all of this riverfront property into a boardwalk for the city. That plan is yet to be implemented. Of course, it makes great sense to move all of the industries off of the river because these industries are a source of pollution. And instead of having, if we're passing in front of the Marriott Hotel, that's the Marriott Hotel in front. Yes, instead of making the waterfront in Georgetown riverfront the zone for oil companies like Halliburton and Exxon and Saipem and Schlumberger. All these companies now have property on the waterfront, but there's no reason to have in the city of Georgetown the waterfront be taken over by these oil companies. Instead, they ought to remove all the oil companies, and this, of course, this power company, Guyana Power and Light, should be removed further inland so that the waterfront could be reserved for residential and commercial. In other words, hotels, high-rise apartments, because this is in fact logically what should be done and what is being done in places like Dubai, Singapore, and so on. They've moved industries off of prime waterfront property and turned it into real valuable real estate for commercial property. We're in Kingston. Now we're going past the lighthouse. Like I said, the lighthouse has now been moved to the top. That's the lighthouse at the top of the Marriott Hotel. Showed you this in the previous video. That's the Marriott. But this is the original lighthouse. It's still a landmark, but it's no longer visible from the sea, from the ocean. And I think you can still probably visit this lighthouse as a tourist for a small fee during the day. Ministry of Public Infrastructure is over here. This is the building I was pointing out from the seawall. That building is an office tower, office building. It was built sometime during the pandemic, or completed sometime in around 2019, 2020. 2020, I think. Yeah, so this is the lighthouse. It's no longer active, but it certainly is still a landmark, and you can visit the lighthouse during I guess, during the day. And this is the Kingston power plant. Now this, of course, is probably going to be replaced eventually after the gas to shore project has been completed, because of course the goal of the gas to shore pipeline is to bring natural gas from the operations, that is the oil recovery operations on the ocean, to make that gas accessible for power generation. So I assume that over time this power plant should be replaced as they move the center of power generation to the west coast. Right, this is the current power plant, and they're going to move the operation of the gas to shore power project will be off. The center of that operation will be on the west coast of Demerara, where they're currently building the gas to shore pipeline project. I still have to make a visit to see what has happened so far with the gas to shore pipeline. This is Barrack Street in Kingston, and this is the Lincoln American University. So this is Lincoln American University. That's the location here in Kingston. Barrack Street in Kingston, and we're actually walking on Water Street, so that's Barrack Street, Kingston. And of course that's looking back at the Marriott Hotel. It's at the top of Water Street here in Kingston. This is the power plant, and a power and light. Oh, I didn't know this. This is the Canadian Embassy, the visa application center. Canadian Embassy is located, Canadian High Commission is located here in this building. That's kind of new because the last time I was here, that wasn't there. This is the power production distribution center for the Guyana Power and Light. And points south, we're heading south, but points further south of where we are is in fact Water Street properly. So that's it, guys. That is Kingston from Water Street. We looked at the beachfront, the riverfront, and now the Water Street end of Kingston. And we're stopping here at the Molasses Terminal. We're going to continue in another video. We actually have been in this neck of the woods before. That's Cowan Street. And beyond Cowan Street is the end of the railway line. So Georgetown was the first city in South America to have a railway, and this building was the old railway power station. Well, not power, but repair station. So where all the carriages, the trains, would come for repair. And that, of course, is the remnants of the previous railway. We've seen this before in previous videos, right? That's the old train, or a section of the old train from the previous railway, and this is where the line came to an end. The East Coast Railway line came to an end. But we'll talk about that again in future videos. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. let people know what's happening here in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later! This is the coca. We've seen this in previous videos, of course, so this is not new. And we're going to see more of it in future. Later!